Hey everybody, welcome back to School Work in Progress, where this video is a work in progress because I've had about 15 interruptions since trying to start this video, and we're gonna hope that we can get it together. I'm Emily, homeschool mama to 2, 8 and 11 years old. There's our Gryffindor and Ravenclaw and our floating candles. Evidence from our Harry Potter party. And these really cool potions. Oh my gosh, I have to show you. Okay. I made potion bottles. This is a beautification potion. But watch. If you haven't made these with your kids, you need to. They're amazing. Isn't it beautiful? We made so many. Big ones, little ones. And if you didn't know, you can get colored hot glue for this. It's amazing. So much fun. Okay, focus. It is Sunday afternoon. It is rainy and disgusting. I am armed with a mug of hot tea and my beautiful planner, and I'm ready to get things sorted out for the upcoming week. And I thought you might like to join me to see how I go about planning our homeschool days. Okay, here we go. Hopefully I'm staying in a window that you can see what I'm doing. This is my amazing little pouch that a friend made for me years ago, where I keep all of my favorite pens and highlighters and all of the planning goodies that I really, really love. For my kids, I do color code things like a weirdo. I use this one for my daughter, this one for my son, not because we fit into gender stereotypes around here, but because this is what they happen to choose for their Schoolnest grade level notebooks. My daughter's was kind of a pink, so I chose this one, and my son chose a dark blue, so I went with the blue. These are the Friction erasable pens. I was a little worried about using them at first, but they have actually worked out really, really well. For anything that they do together, of course, I use purple because when you mix these together, you get purple, and I'm a nerd. I usually use black for anything that's just family stuff or my stuff or doctor's appointments, things that aren't related to school. So we'll grab these and we'll dive in. Here's our little Halloween friend and another potion bottle. Okay, so this week I just used, I haven't bought decent tabs that I really, really love. So I just used a folded over Post-it for now. And I'll move that to our new week and get started. So here I usually list any appointments or places we need to be, classes that we have, any appointments or things like that might be going on that week. Tomorrow is an unusual Monday for us. Usually I take my kids to our small co-op group, but at 6:45 I have to pick up my mom to take her to a doctor's appointment. So my husband will be taking the kids to their co-op. They're building rockets. I'm very excited. Tuesday mornings I teach a class. Tuesday and Friday I teach online. And then I think I have another class at 12. And that should be it for me. Mondays, my son is playing Minecraft with his friends, so if you hear a random growl in the other room, it's totally normal. They have co-op 11 to 2-ish. And my husband will take them. Tuesdays, we just started, last week was their first one, Kung Fu lessons. And last week, like I said, was just the first one and they really liked it. So fingers crossed. Once I put in the standard stuff so I don't forget anything important, like last week we had a doctor's appointment on Thursday. So when laying out our lessons, I would know, don't put as much on Thursdays because you won't be here. Okay. I like to put my days of the week across the top. It just makes more sense in my brain. Sometimes I actually draw a line down here, but I don't usually put a lot for the weekend in this book, so I'm not going to worry about it. I do, however, like to have the actual date. So tomorrow is, oh my God, is tomorrow the 23rd? That's just rude. All right, and down the side, I put subjects, and I've tried a couple of different orders, but I've landed on a particular way that makes sense to me, where all of our top sections are mainly our group subjects. I try to do those first during the day, and then the bottom half is their more individual skill-based stuff. So here's MCT for Michael Clay Thompson, and Mega Words for my oldest. History, science, art, music, and health. Usually we don't do all three in one day, so one column for those three works pretty well. Math, writing and vocabulary, and then their loops. I have a number of skill-based workbook kind of things that they don't need to do every day, that they choose 2 of them a day usually to work on a page, and they just kind of work their way through. Let me show you an example. For example, my son has the Evan Moore Skill Sharpener Science book. This is one of his loops, and if he chooses it, then the next day he'll just do this next page. So he works 1 page at a time. So if he hits that once a week, I'm happy. Okay, so we've got our basics set up. Usually on co-op days, I will do a little bit of math in a loop. Because they can do it pretty independently while I'm packing up lunches for the day. Tomorrow, since my husband is going to be taking them, things will be probably a little more chaotic with him forgetting things and them reminding him that he's not doing it the way Mom does. So I'll just put a reminder that in science is co-op. Usually co-op also covers some writing and vocabulary like ELA stuff because I do a book club with them, and they'll also have art. Because we are building rockets, I don't know if I mentioned that already, but they're building rockets. I'm very excited. That will likely take up the whole time, and I'll fill out afterward what they've done. So for planning ahead, I try to keep it really slim, and then we'll go in afterward as a planning from behind to fill out, these are the concepts that they actually discussed. So Tuesday, we do have, not there, 1 page. Tuesday, we do have something in the afternoon, but that's not too far away. We live out in the boonies, so everything is a drive for us. But we get most of our school done in the morning. So we can definitely do these. When it comes time to plan math things, I just grab the book. And for any of you that aren't familiar with Mammoth, there are approximately a million zillion questions on each page. And even in in their instructions and their explanation of the program, they tell you to do about half of them. Do I wish that the actual work text was a little more slimmed down with only the things you should do and then had another file? I do buy the PDF printable, or a separate booklet that had extra questions if you need it. I do, because this can be visually really overwhelming for a lot of people, a lot of kids. But thankfully it works for mine, and I just go through and cross out what I don't want them to do. Okay, so tomorrow, our co-op day, there are some problems on the previous page that he needed to, that he made mistakes on, that I want him to review with me. So I'm just gonna put review with mom, and I'll remember what that means. No, I won't. All right, page 116. And then here I just put page numbers. And I'll do the same thing with my daughters. She'll do this page. As I'm filling it out, I leave the top 2 pages for my son and the top 2 lines for my son and the bottom 2 lines for my daughter. So again, I'll just put the page number. That way, if, say I give him 3 pages here and it ends up being very challenging, I'll just erase it and edit that to what he ends up doing after the fact. But then I'll add the concept underneath. That way, if we have to change it, I'm only erasing page numbers. I'm not having to erase tons of things and rewrite all of it. This did sort of, as I was crossing things out, blob out some ink, which then transferred around and some got on my planner, but it's not an issue I've had a lot with these pens, so hopefully it's just a fluke and not an all the time thing. All right, back to filling this out. For my daughter, I usually assume 2 pages a day. That seems to be perfect for her. For my son, I want to be able to give him 3, but some of when it's new, 3 pages is a little bit too much. So math, that's it, easy peasy. For their writing lessons, we are using Essentials in Writing, but instead of going through their books, I typed out a list, because if you watched my curriculum choices video, Essentials in Writing, the first half of the book is all grammar, and the second half, so this is their workbook, this whole first portion is grammar exercises, and all of the writing composition assignments are the second half. That would drive my kids nuts. So we chose to bounce back and forth. To make it easier on my brain, I just typed a list. My son is also doing, because I brought him down a couple of levels, we're doing a more accelerated pacing. So I typed a list like a nut job. And I'll just highlight them when I'm done, but let me look back. And he did lesson 46. last time. So he finished this one. I'll grab one of my beautiful highlighters. I'm sure you already have these because anyone with a planner loves beautiful highlighters. I use the mild liner and they're lovely. Lovely. All right, so he did that, and then I just go down the list. He'll do lesson 20 video. There's always a video. And pages 50 to 51. Okay, I had to pause for a moment. We buy a quarter of a cow every year to fill our freezer, and I just had to go write down everything that was in there because I actually keep a freezer inventory so I don't lose things at the bottom. Anyway, total aside. Hopefully I don't repeat myself too much coming back into things. So for my daughter, I do the same thing. I'll check which ones she finished last week. She did lesson 9 and this first part of lesson 10. So I'll go through and cross off what she did. And write down which ones she has for the next week. That's it for their writing. For vocabulary, they each have an Evan Moore Word a Day book. And I can't remember what we finished last week or where we ended. Usually we'll do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We'll introduce the words. The next day we'll do this oral exercises to practice them together. And then on the third day, they'll do this written practice. But I think we landed in a weird place last week. Yeah, we introduced words and then never did anything with them. So I could try to squeeze in 2 weeks of this in this week, but that just feels silly. So we're not gonna do that. And instead, I'll do Word a Day oral review, Word a Day written, and then we'll have Friday off. And I'll do the same for my son because I'm sure that that's what he did too. For loops, they use a loop jar. Please hold, I'll grab one to show you. Okay, so we have these loop jars, Liam's Loops. Let me make sure you can actually see. Liam's Loops and Liam's Loops. Done, very creatively named. This was an idea that I got from Cassie at Regular Secular Mama. So I just wrote on these slips the different workbook things that I want him to do. And when they all end up in the done jar, he dumps them in here and cycles through them again. So I don't really worry about which ones he's doing in which order. He goes through them all and then cycles back through. If today he picks out one that he thinks, ugh, I really don't want to work on this editing, he can put it back and grab another. That's fine with me. So all I need to do on their list is I just write choose 1 or choose 2, and then I'll fill in after which ones they did. Why do I actually write all these words out? I don't know. I feel like maybe it helps me settle my brain this time where everyone leaves me alone because I'm in here by myself and they know I'm like working on school stuff. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I could just leave it blank, or I could just write one or two, but every time that's what I do. Isn't that crazy? Choose two. Choose one. I could just write the numbers 1 or 2 and not write the word choose. Why do we do the things that we do? I may never know. All right, so these are done. Let's look at the rest of our week. Usually twice a week we'll do one of the sentences from Practice Island, Michael Clay Thompson's. But I just have a bookmark in here and we just do the next one. I just write in here, MCT sentence. Oh my gosh, my brain is shutting down. And then if there's something that we haven't covered in a while, I'll note that afterward. Last time we did direct objects. We hadn't talked about that in a while, so I just wrote underneath direct objects. So when I do my paperwork for the state, I can note that that is the thing that we covered. On Thursdays, I like to do building language. That is the piece of Michael Clay Thompson that we're working through next. We're also going to be doing Sentence Island, but last year we did Grammar Island and we need to do Sentence Island, but I wanted to get into this first. I know a lot of people overlap them, but that is just too many things. It's too many things. So we did the first STEM lesson, which was on last week. So this week we'll do the second one, which is page 49. I like to kind of look and make sure we can get a whole one in. And that'll be easy. 49 to 56. So we'll read and talk about that on Thursday. For history, I've been doing something a little bit different the last couple of weeks. I'll just write down in here that I want to do history, and then on this previous page, in this checkbox list area, I'll write down what things I would like to cover. So, for history, I'll look back and see what we didn't finish last week. Last week, we did this, we did this, we did this. I think we only read chapter 4. We didn't read a lot of that book. Blood on the River. We didn't do What the Eagle Sees. It's a great book. Let me add it to our list for this week. Okay, so again, if you watched my group subjects video, I am doing a blend of Build Your Library 5 and History Quest. So again, I just made a list and I go through and highlight everything that we've done. Sometimes we don't do everything that's on here, that's fine with me. There's that What the Eagle Sees page. Whoopsie. So up next is another unit of History Quest. We're bouncing from a week of Build Your Library to a week of the History Quest. So I am going to, could I just open this during the week and look at it? Yes, but I know myself and I know that opening 500 different things during the week means I won't do them. So if I have a list here in my planner that I'm looking at regularly, I might actually do the thing. So read chapter 2, History Quest, chapter 2. There are a number of books recommended that I did not get yet. So I am going to look and see if my library close happens to have any of these, then I'll add them. So we're also going to do Unit 2 map. I won't write down any of the details. I'll just write the map and then I'll look back here knowing that that's what we're doing. History hop. I'm gonna pause and look up these books and then I'll add that to the list. Otherwise, this week for history will be pretty darn short. Okay. So we have 2 days to spend on that. We're also working through Science Mom. In this, I said at the beginning of the year I was gonna organize this so it looked pretty. It's not. It's the list, I don't even have dividers. It's the list of my son's writing schedule, my daughter's writing schedule, and then the Earth Science contents page. That's it. I don't even have tabs. It'd be cool if I did, but I'm not going to. Back here are like all of the activity papers needed for Science Mom that I printed, but that's the only thing that's really labeled. Okay. Top of the Atmosphere we did last week. So I'll check that off. And up next is the 5th video and the art project. So when do I want to do that? I'll add that to Thursday. What are we missing? We're missing art, that thing I've been terrible about doing, and I told you guys I was going to do better. So what we're gonna do right now, we will finish. We started a project, a Glitter Bombers project earlier in the year that we never finished. So I will put finish, since we don't have any other group stuff on Tuesday, I'll finish Wish Ride was the name of it. And then Friday, we like to do art. Well, we like to. Like I said, I've been terrible, but I'm gonna add it in here. I'm gonna put Glitter Bombers. We haven't chosen a unit to necessarily work through, so we'll decide, the kids and I, if we wanna do something maybe Halloween-y, maybe we'll choose a specific project as we get closer. And health, we are reading through Outsmarting Worry, which is a really great book. I'm gonna add that on Wednesday. Wednesday is a good day for us to like really settle in and do a lot together because we are home and we don't have anywhere else to be. Maybe because we don't have a ton for history this week, I think, I will also do our Every Body book that we're learning about puberty. And I think this looks pretty good. I like to leave these open in case this doesn't work out as planned, and then we can finish up this project if we don't finish it, or we can finish up any of the history reading if we don't here. But Fridays are a little bit lighter to make room for art. Okay. I don't know if you can hear the storm that is raging outside, but it is so windy and unpleasant. So this is it for us. This is our week. If this feels really light during the day, we'll read some of our read aloud books, which for history is Blood on the River. And right now we're reading Amira and Hamza, The War to Save the World, whatever the first book in that series is, and it's kind of awesome. So we can always read more of those. But that's it, you guys. That's all there is to it for me. Let me know, do you like to plan ahead? Do you like to plan from behind? I clearly like to do a weird combination of both, but it seems to be working well for me. If I didn't make this list ahead of time, I would not accomplish much of anything. And if I wrote down more than this right now, then I would feel too locked in. So I found this is a nice balance for me. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. That sounded so stupid, you guys.